Welcome back to The Galley. We've got another great conversation with another author. I'm excited to get to know him, get to know his books. We love talking about stories every week, and not only just the stories that the authors write, but also the stories that they come from, right? These stories have origins. And so today I'm pleased to be with Richard Rosini, who wrote the book Sins of Omission. And we'll be getting into that today, as well as what made him write the book to begin with. So how are you today?
I am well. Thank you for calling. It was a very hectic day here with the snow and the weather, but it was all good.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you located now? Where is it snowing?
It was in Connecticut, in the United States, in the Connecticut.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm in New York. It's not snowing here, so I was like, So you are north of me, a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just so everyone gets to know you a little bit more, how did you get to the point where you wrote this book? Like, where are you originally from? What's your background? And then how did that contribute to you making the book that you did?
I came up with the idea for the book because it was my mother's life story. And I've always heard it all my life, but I never knew the story behind it truly. So as a kid, I'm curious, growing up without a father and all this, and I went through the box of photos, as I call it, and I hunted all these different people. I was like, who's this? Who's this? Who's this? And then I put it all together to make the story of the book.
Very cool. So is this somewhat autobiographical, or like how one-to-one is it with reality?
It's very real. And it's so real that if I told my mother about it, she would have went out like this and said, give me the money, because it's her story. My father disowned me over the book because he got so disgusted with it. That he didn't want me to write anything about it. He tried to stop it and all that. I'm like, too late. It's in the production. I can't, and so he just said, I'll have to think about that, and never talk to me again.
Wow, that's crazy. So I'm sure people listening don't know exactly why that would be, but do you want to give them a little non-spoiler look at the book? Just a little description?
Well, for the reality of it, the truth of the story, briefly, is that I was you heard about stories about priests, and getting into trouble with the congregation and all that. Well, this was back in the day where it was all hush hush. So, excuse me. So, being that it was hush hush, I said, well, I'm not hush hushing my story if I'm the result of the hush hush.
Yeah.
You see? So my father was a Roman Catholic priest, and and my mother pursued him. And so in the book, I was created. So basically, excuse me. And I didn't really know the story. No one would tell me the story in my entire family. I grew up without a father, didn't know him. I always thought that the priesthood or the church relocated him, back in the day. Hold on, let me just take a drink of water. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead.
So I never knew. But it made me want a career in law enforcement, so I could figure out how to find him, how to find my dad.
Right.
This is all before the computer, before computers came out. So I was always curious how to find him. It comes to find out that my uncle, who was a cop, he's now close to 75 years old. He knew how to find my father.
Oh, wow.
He just never told me or never told anybody, but he knew. And I said, well, that's not fair. It wasn't fair. So I followed in his footsteps because I didn't have a father. So I followed in my uncle's footsteps and I became a law enforcement officer. I just retired last week.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, but that's another story. So the reason why I had to retire so early is because I have to take care of my sister. She's got brain cancer. So
Oh, wow.
I'm taking care of her. And when the phone rang, I thought it was her. So so that's my full-time job now, is taking care of her. And
Yeah.
I told her, I said to her, I gotta be on TV today. You can't bother me. She goes, all right, I won't bother you today. Yeah.
Yeah.
But and in the book, she's in the book. My sister's in the book, but she's a little child. And and it was tough for my mom, being a single mom, to raise two kids all her life and struggling and everything. And uh so the book briefly goes into that, but it also um says how we got up here in Connecticut. I'm originally from Yonkers, New York.
Hmm.
The story takes place in Yonkers, New York, but I had to change the name. Um, and once again, the church that's on the front cover of the book is a Portugal church. I thought it would I didn't design it, but I thought it would like really snazzy the book. I designed the back cover of the book.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm a war veteran. I went to Iraq and I came back. And last August, I lost my mother to brain cancer.
Oh,
And
wow.
October of this year, my sister came down with brain cancer 2 months after my mom.
Wow.
So
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, it's been a rough year, and I scrambled to get everything organized because neither one of them had anything organized. But um, I've learned a lot in less than 4 months. So, um, um, and I disowned the rest of the family type of deal because they didn't want to help. I'm the strong one, but my sister Denise, is the weak one, and according to them, when I went to Iraq, I had over my heart, I had a note for my mother in case I got shot. On my right
Hmm.
side, I made a note for my dad, but I was going to let the army try to find him. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I mean, I had no
Yeah.
idea, but I knew his name. I have two birth certificates, one under his name, one under my grandfather's name or my mother's name. I took my mother's name. It's a lot shorter. Um, and so when I tracked him down, I wrote him a letter, let the U.S. Post Office try to find him. The post office found him. He called me, and I got the message on my phone, and I was like, I'm in shock.
Yeah.
Like, who is this person? And so forth. Well, I found him at 75 years old,
Wow.
and like I said, I never knew. Um, I never knew the history, like his health history. I always go by my grandfather's health history. His health history, I found out, diabetes and heart problems. Okay, fine. Longevity, because my grandfather only lived to be 68 years old, and now he's 84.
Hmm.
My dad. So I'm like, well, I'm going to live that long, so I got to prepare for that.
Yeah.
But when we were conversing before I created the book, he told me what had happened with his mom, my grandmother, and
Hmm.
that's part of the book, and
Hmm.
that really happened. And I had no idea that happened, but I put that in my book as part of the excitement of the book. Um, him running away, just like in the book. Um, this is not in the book. I have he ran off with one of the nuns and he had 4 other children. I'm the firstborn, and then I found out that I have a sister, brother.
Wow.
So the 2 sisters called me on a 3-way conversation one day and said, "Dad has no money." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not interested in Dad's money."
Yeah.
That's what they thought. Like, why would you be contacting him now at the age of 70, 76 or 75? And I'm like, I never knew him, you know?
Yeah.
But what made it awkward and easy for them to disown me as well was that growing up without a father and my mother dealing with my sister all my life, I had social problems. I had a tough time socializing with adults. I knew how to deal with my neighborhood friends and kids, but I don't know how to deal with adults. So I had a tough time talking to them. Even when they flew out here to see me, and then I flew out to Texas to see them. So to make a long story short, the military made me a man, and I grew up, wanting to travel and socialize, and I actually crave to talk to people now. Whereby all my life I was like, "Who are you? Why can I trust you?" So forth and so on. But
Yeah.
um, but last year was a very, very difficult year, and I said to my mom, I lost my dog in April, and he's on the back of the cover of the book. I lost both my dogs actually. One died of cancer, and the other one died of old age. And hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
Yep.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Can you hear me?
I lost your picture again.
Yeah. If I come offline for any reason, you can continue talking, and then you'll be fine.
Okay, so can you see this picture?
Yes.
Okay, so this is me and my dog, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the one I lost in April, and he was my heart. And this, okay, let me explain this to you. This photo here, I don't want the glare, but this photo here was the only picture I had of my father.
Wow.
You see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this picture here is him when I found him.
Wow. Yeah, I can see.
This picture here is my other siblings.
Wow.
And we all have the same eyebrows.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
and so this is so this picture here was my mom was pregnant for me. So this picture is what I based my story on at the time, my sister's age and all that good stuff. And so I keep this picture of all together of everybody, even though they don't talk to me anymore. But it's all part of Sins of Omission storyline is this collage of pictures.
Wow. Yeah, thanks for sharing all of that. Given all of that, though, was it hard for you to put pen to paper and write this story down? Was there any difficulty, or was it sort of cathartic to put together?
Well, I was at my job working the overnight shift, and I to keep awake, I just started writing. Now, I've always been a writer. That was free. Pen and paper was free. So I didn't want to put a burden on my mother, so I always wrote. I wrote poetry, I wrote, you name it. I just wrote every time I went, collecting stories. And as a matter of fact, this is the sequel. The Sins of Omission is in here writing right now.
Oh wow, a sequel.
Yeah, yeah.
Already.
Oh well, we'll see. We'll see. It's coming out boring in my opinion, but yeah, it's what I gotta do. I gotta spice it up a little bit. But yeah, I've always written. It was but now it's like everybody wants it on the computer, and I'm like, so it's a new way of learning to me, and
Audiobooks and stuff like that, right?
yeah, it's like I got to hire a person to come in and do it on the computer, because I have no idea. But
Yeah.
like I said, so I was at work, and the words just started to come out. Once I had the title, it was like it was nonstop. My wife used to say to me, "You just got done working 16 hours, and it's 11 o'clock in the afternoon, and you're still up and you're writing, and you got to go back to work at 4." I'm like, "I know, I can't stop the words; they're coming out." And I said,
Yeah.
"Just do me a favor, because of the military." I said to her, I said, "Just read it and let me know if it's flowing, because the way I talk, I'm all over the place, like I said, and I don't stop talking." And I'm like, "Does it flow?"
Yeah.
And she says, "Yeah, it's quite interesting. I'm surprised on how you're writing everybody, how you're how you're telling everybody the characters
Hmm.
and so forth, keeping them all straight and all that." And I'm like, "Well, if you read the book, it's only 90 pages long, because I didn't know how to go from one chapter to the other. I made very short chapters, but I kept it interesting and to the point, and it just kept on coming. Like the jokes were hard for me to do in the book, but
Yeah.
I mean, I proofread it and rewrote it so many times. It was like I'm getting sick and tired of the book, tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Because you read it so much,
Yeah.
and and my friends from work, they all like bought one copy of the book and shared it amongst
Mm.
them. I was like, "You cheap mothers." I said, "It's only $12." I said,
Yeah,
"Why
that's
can't you
horrible.
each buy one? I mean, come on." Right.
Yeah.
So they like criticized me and everything, and they really liked the book. One guy read it in less than an hour, and then he said, "Here, give it to the next person." Another guy was I had several teachers write it. I had a couple of psychologists read it, and they said to me, "I could see why your father disowned you or be upset with the book, you know." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, but it's how I felt, and I didn't want anything holding me back on it, so I didn't hold back any punches."
Yeah, for sure.
And it wasn't, well, it wasn't because I felt shortchanged or revenge on the subject of my dad. It was just, it was because here's the reason behind all of it was not only for therapy for me, but the money I make from the book or the movie is going to help my sister's medical bills
Oh wow. Yeah.
because of her cancer, and she's been fighting cancer ever since she was 10 years old.
Wow.
And she was pronounced like they told her she was going to pass away, announced terminal, but she lived 12 more years after that. And this one that she has now is the final one. She has the brain cancer, and there's no recovery from it. She had one tumor removed already, and she's got another one growing. So
Wow.
so she doesn't know. I don't think she's gonna make it to like the movie or to seeing the anything from it, but the people that are helping me, I'm gonna help them. So it's not a personal vendetta for me. It's more like my mom's story is to help my sister, and that's why I wrote it, because um, I just needed her to understand how I felt all these years.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I got my mother when I got a video on my phone when my mom had her when she had her cancer removed out of her brain. She admitted in the recovery room that she would apologized for abandoning me. It was tough for a single mom to choose one child over the other, and so she chose my sister over me.
Yeah.
I at the age of 8 type of deal, I started to learn how to cook and fend for myself. And 13 years old was when I lost my grandparents, and 13 years old is when I said, "Time for me to be an adult." I said to my mom, I said, "Mom, I want to go into the military." She goes, "You're too young." And I'm like, "Okay." 17, I still wanted to. So for 4 years, I was annoying her, and she signed the papers, and I went in.
Yeah, and so given that you didn't have a background in writing beforehand, was it difficult to start looking at publishing and marketing and figuring out how you're going to get books in people's hands and stuff like that?
That was really, really hard. I mean,
Yeah.
I actually said, no one's going to buy this. No one's going to publish this. And then next thing you know, I submitted it to 4 or 5 publishers. And one of them called me back and said, "We are really interested in your book." I'm like, "Really?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Really?" I'm on the phone. "Really?" And I thought it was like a scam. They said,
Yeah.
"Oh, no, 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 no. You sent us 10 pages. We're really interested in the book." And I was like, "You got 5 areas of attractiveness towards the book, sense of admission." And I said, "I don't know what the 5 areas were. I just wrote the story the way I knew the story was. But I just had to
Yeah.
change everybody. I had to change everybody's name." So that's what I did. And then once I got that all done, that took 2 years, to get the book done. I was like, they wanted money. I had to come up with the money. I had to help my mom. And I'm like, okay, all right, this, that, the other thing. My wife thought it was a scam. I'm like, no, it's not a scam. You got to be positive about it. Be positive, be positive, be positive. Stop being, worried about
Right.
it. I'm like, she goes, "Well, the book cost $5,000, so I basically worked a lot of overtime and I paid for the book." Well, when the book came out and they sent me my copies, I was like, "It's really here." Surprise. And my wife was like, "Can I start sending it to my friends?" I'm like, "Yeah, the whole point of this is for them to buy the book, dear,
Right.
not get my free copies." But yeah.
Yeah.
So so I'm glad I'm out of copies now. Everybody's like, "Don't I get a free copy?" I mean, I worked with 200 officers. I didn't have 200 copies. And I said, "You cheap guys, just pass one around."
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the book. And then they asked me, the publisher asked me real quick. The publisher asked me, what kind of, during COVID, what kind of marketing ideas do you think you have to promote the book? I'm like, "Well, I don't know. That's what I'm paying you for," I said.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not into the marketing, I said. I don't know. It was my first
Yeah.
book ever, I don't know. So one day I said to myself, I took a copy of the book and I mailed it to Oprah Winfrey's magazine.
Wow.
Next time, the week after, maybe 2 weeks after I mailed the book out, I get a phone call. It was from this other movie production company in New York, and they wanted money from me. Like they promised me the contract, the money, and all this. Well, I was one of 5 um, new artists that they promote in this magazine production company.
That's
And I'm like,
amazing.
out of all these people, I was like, whoa, 1 of 5. I'm like, that's really good odds. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
number 1, but anyways, because I couldn't come up with the money because I was helping my mom with her medical issues, they were like, "Well, we're going to drop you."
Wow.
But however, they sent it to their sister company in London, England, which was Far Eastern Production Company. Now, this gentleman that is working with me, Mr. Charles Smith, I've been talking to him for almost a year, and his personality is terrific. He's a great man. He has a really nice personality. I would recommend him. Actually, I keep telling him, when are you going to send me a ticket so I can fly out to meet you? Because I can't afford it right now.
Right.
I said, let me come out there for once. Let me come out. I'm not saying first class, but I'm a big guy. I said I might need 2 seats. I might need 2 seats, but I'm a big guy. I said, so he's laughing, he's joking, and it's kind of sad because what I'm going through with my sister, he's going through medical issues with his father at the same time. Wow. So we're still talking to each other, not about the book. I mean, the book's rolling, but we're just talking like if we were long lost brothers. It's like, and we never met, and it's really cool. So I like meeting people for that reason. Like, I like hearing their stories. I was as a child in my household, I was never allowed to talk. I was always allowed to listen, and so I learned to listen to people more than I can talk to people.
Right.
So I'm a really great listener, and my wife says I listen too closely sometimes, and I get yelled at for that.
Right.
Yeah. So
cool.
But the book Sins of Omission, like I said, came to me when I was doing over on the overnight shift. It made me stay awake, and I wrote it like on like just pads like this I carry around with me whenever I have a thought, and I just start writing whatever comes into mind, a joke, whatever, a title. I thought of a children's book, but then I said there's a cartoon about it, so I'm like, I don't want to steal the cartoon's ideas. So there goes my children's book title. I was gonna make the name of that book was gonna be Backwoods Dogs, and it was about my dog being the leader of a 9-dog posse, and they take care of the neighborhood at night, scaring off the animals. So some work during the night, some work during the day, and change shifts. But my dog is always in control of everybody, and one of the dogs steals all the neighborhood balls so the kids can't play in the street. So so that was all part of my ideas and going on. But then I saw it on a cartoon one day, and I said, "Oh, darn it! Everybody's stealing my ideas." No, my wife Shirley, she was my sister's best friend, and I met her at my sister's second marriage. She was the maid of honor. And we've been together ever since, but she didn't realize how bad my sister treats me. And then one day she witnessed it, like that she faked niceness to me all her life. So Shirley noticed that, and now Shirley doesn't like my sister because of the way she treated me. And I'm like, well, that's the way she is, and it made me have a thick skin to do my job. So I was like, but Shirley does, Shirley's there for me. She's there for me for the whole thing. I threw her through every test in the world, to try to see if she would leave me before I even, and she wouldn't go. I'm like, come on, and I'm like, you sure? You sure? You sure? She goes, nope, you're not getting rid of me. Stop. But no, I won't ever get rid of her. I love her too much. So we have a great relationship. She didn't come to me to Texas because she wouldn't leave the dog. And but when my family came from Texas to here, it was really, really nice. But it felt like I had strangers in my house. I'm feeling claustrophobic. The walls are caving in. If I say something wrong, will he ever stop talking to me? My dad and he had 2 brothers. I had 2 uncles that I didn't even know about. One of them passed away, and then the other brother is still alive. He's in New Jersey with his family, but they don't include me in with the family. So again, once once my sister goes, it's just me and my wife Shirley. That's it.
Yeah.
You know. But again, that's basically the book. And Sins of Omission. How I came up with that title really quick was, I said, what does the book have? It has religion, it has committing sins in the religion, and it has all the things that I kind of grew up around, but I wasn't allowed to talk about, wasn't allowed to social about. One of the reasons why my mother moved us out of Yonkers to Connecticut was to get away from that life and to protect us. So we did,
Yeah.
My sister, I said to my sister, I said, you want me to find your father? Because we're half brother and sister. She goes, nope, I don't want you to ever find him. I'm like, okay. But I said, all right, if that's the way you feel, okay. But I found out his name and I found out what he did for a profession when the time of Denise was born and all that. And I said, it's a good thing that I don't find him. So
Yeah.
my uncle, who's doing the lineage of our family type of deal, he thinks that her father has passed on. So I'm like, okay, then that's probably a good thing. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
So now it's just me and my sister, and every day I'm going over there, and every day I have to take care of her and be on a moment's notice to get over there.
We're running a little short on time here. I know it feels like it's been only. No, you're fine. No, that was all interesting. But just as the last thing, where can people find your book if they listen to this and really want to figure out the nitty gritty, exciting details?
Okay, so the book can be found on Amazon and ebooks, Walden Books. Most of my friends bought it through Amazon. It's Sins of Omission, available on hardback and paperback copies. If Again, there's still no book signing anywhere, so there's like a couple. I was offered to go to New York before COVID, and that washed out. So I'm like, okay, now I don't know what's next. So I am glad to meet you, and I thank you for your time, and hope everybody enjoys the book. Again, it's my story on how I was created, but my sense of humor came out from me trying to find out how to fit in with everybody. So that's the way I am.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on. I hope everyone goes and checks out your book. I definitely will be checking it out too. I hope you have a great week, and maybe we'll see you back around sometime soon.
Feedback on it. I really would enjoy your feedback. So send me an email. Let me know if you enjoyed it. I hope it doesn't offend you. I hope it doesn't offend you. I always say that. I'm like, if you're religious, I hope it doesn't offend you. I said,
no, I've got a thick skin too, so
okay,
it'll be fine. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.